Hello everyone and welcome back. Today, if you are living in Newcastle, let's be honest, it is a horrible day. Miserable, depressing, the weather outside is awful. It's just been pouring for hours on end. However, if you are a Newcastle United fan, I actually think it's quite a glorious day to be a fan because the big news straight away, let's talk about it. Joelinton, 4 more years. It has been announced by Fabrizio Romano. According to reports, Joelinton has signed a new deal verbally to stay at Newcastle United for the next 4 years. I'm buzzing with that one. Now, at first, his original contract was going to expire in the summer, meaning that if he didn't sign a new deal, he could have signed for any club that he wanted to. He could have just walked out of Newcastle if he wanted to go elsewhere. But, of course, Joelinton, being the absolute legend that he is, wants to stay at the club, hence why he signed a new deal. It would have been a case where he's just trying to get more money for himself, and you guys watch now, you tell me your personal opinion. Do you think Joelinton should be paid more money to stay at the club? For me, 100%. What a class player he has been for us. Someone that I think is a focal point in our midfield and someone that we are desperately missed since he got injured in the derby. I can't wait to see him back, and I can't wait to see him in our team next season. I am buzzing with this news. I've never had any doubts, to be honest, that he would have left the club, but until that pen's actually been put down on paper and he's signed that deal, you can never say never. So the fact that we have got him stuck to a new deal is huge. And because of the other news that we are going to talk about in this video today, a potential possibility of course, the certainty of Bruno in the summer, it's always important to keep your midfielders at least. So Joelinton's a big one to get down, someone that I think we'll get many more years out of. For me, certified club legend already, and I'm hoping we could potentially win something when he's still at the club, because he's one of those players that deserves it, and he's one of those players that can also do it himself as well because of the raw ability he has. But before we get into everything about Bruno, if you guys are new around here, get down there, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any upcoming Newcastle United news. Whenever it gets reported out in social media, you'll be the first to hear about it on my channel. And I want to announce one more thing as well, just before we get into everything regarding Bruno. Thursday the 25th of April, 6:30 PM kickoff time at South Shields Stadium. I will be playing in the Newcastle United vs Sunderland charity match with all the money raised by ticket sales and also donations made on the day will go to Mind Washington, which is actually a mental health charity. Now, unfortunately, the shocking statistic being is that 1 in 4 people who are watching this video now will actually suffer from some form of mental health illness in their lifetime. UK, 2023, over 6,000 people have committed suicide, which is 115 per week, with 75% of those people also being male. So it's quite important for us to get together to raise a lot of money for charity. It's quite a big deal for everyone as well, so make sure if you can get yourselves down. It's the day after Crystal Palace away. I'll come back up from London, I'll be playing that game straight away, so please, if you can get yourselves along, the ticket link will be down in the pinned comment. If you have any questions about the game, DM me. If you've got any issues at all, again, just DM me about it. But yeah, just want to announce that and get it out of the way, but please do get yourselves down if you can. But without further ado, let's talk about some of our topics on this video, the Newcastle United news that has came out over the last few days. Speaking of Brazilian midfielders, let's talk about Bruno. I think a player, especially when that transfer window opens, is always someone that's a lot of uncertainty surrounding him, someone that we just don't know how much longer he's going to stay at Newcastle for. The fact that in his newest contract they've actually put a release clause in there, it gives the impression straight away that he's a player that's not going to want to stick around for a lot of time. He's going to have that get out of jail card if he wants to go to a team like Real Madrid, like a PSG, which we're about to address in just a moment. But he's someone that has already gained traction from the best teams in world football. So when you're Newcastle, a team that is desperate to keep a hold of him, it's quite hard to do that. And Bruno's player agent, Alexis Matova, if I pronounced that properly, was actually at PSG's last game, and he was showing it all over social media. So straight away, a lot of you guys would DM me, a lot of you guys were speculating as Newcastle fans, thinking about, oh god, is he there to do some business with PSG? Is he there to flirt around with potentially leaving in the summer? So I want to kind of come out in this video now just to make everyone aware of it, just so you can all have your own opinion and you can take whatever deduction you want away from this video. But I want to say straight away, a player agent, just remember what a player agent actually is. Alexis is not a fan of Newcastle. He's there for the players' best interest. He's not going to be someone that's going to be a Newcastle fan the rest of his life. It's not how it works. He's always going to look for the best deal for his client, which is, in this case, Bruno. He's always going to look for what will work best for the player. He's always going to look for potentially what clubs will be interested in the player. Newcastle as well, in a business point of view, on the FFP regulations at the minute, until this potential new rule could come into place, Newcastle still needs the player sales. So someone like Bruno is our highest value player. He has the highest attraction from any player at the club because of the teams in world football that actually want to sign him. A player, in my opinion, that I think is good enough to play for any team. I think he's that good. So for Newcastle, when you're trying to keep a hold of him, when your player agent is going out to places like PSG to watch their games, it always gives you that little fear in the background, doesn't it? Because you're thinking, well, I've heard all this on social media. This is going to happen, this is going to happen. And you always have those doubts about him. And I don't think those doubts will go away. I think it's probably the best way of talking about it. And I know in this video, you're probably wanting for something a bit more clear-cut and a bit more conclusive. But I just wanted to report now that Bruno's agent was at PSG's last game. Do I think it's a concern? I don't think it tells you much, to be fair. I don't think it gives away anything. You could argue that the guy just wanted to watch him good football because he went to London the next day. I mean, Paris to London distance-wise isn't that far, so maybe he just wanted to see a match in the midweek before coming across to Fulham. So it depends how you look at it. But obviously, the fact that he's been linked to PSG and the fact he's been in Paris already this season when Newcastle weren't playing, I don't think it's a coincidence, shall we say. But I also don't think it's conclusive enough for me to actually come out and say he was there for this reason. He was there because Bruno was going to join PSG. He was there because of this. I don't think the information is that conclusive, so I'm not going to give you that information. But the fact that it's been linked heavily to PSG, I don't think is a coincidence. If that's something that you guys are going to take away from it. But yeah, keep an eye on it for sure. Those were both the main topics I want to talk about in this video. Now, I want to quickly address a few things as well before we wrap things up. I've already seen on social media an absolute shed load of transfer rumours. Newcastle bringing this player, Newcastle bringing in that player. At this stage in the season, because one, the season's still unplayed, and two, Newcastle's still got so much going on in possibilities of getting European football, I'm not going to address any of it in a video unless it's clear, conclusive, it's been reported by several sources. I just want to mention that now in case any of you guys are wondering why I'm not talking about this potential signing. It's not realistic for these to be actual options at the minute because there's no evidence to suggest them being true. And at this point in the season, again, Newcastle just won't be that active in the transfer market because the market's not open for any purchases. So even though it's probably true that Newcastle will be shortlisting players to have a look at players, the truth is, reports that you see at this stage in the season are likely to be false. So I want to mention that now, just in case any of you guys are wondering why I'm not talking about that. Obviously, in terms of this weekend, Tottenham's our next game at St James's Park on the Saturday. Big match against them, a team that I think is Newcastle's hardest game left. I fancy us to get a result against them, actually, but it's still a team that worries me a bit, to be honest. And then on Sunday, the girls play their final home game of the season, where if they win the match, in all honesty, they will win the match. There will be a trophy presentation at Kingston Park. There's already been over 4,000 fans that have bought tickets. So make sure you're not one of those people that just turns up in the day and tries to buy a ticket, because it's gonna be a busy one for you all. So enjoy that. Make the most out of it. I'm probably gonna predict it's gonna be maybe around 6,000-7,000 people there, which is a lot for Kingston Park. It's gonna properly fill out their stadium, and it's also a ground that hasn't got roof and all of their stands, which you can see from the weather today could potentially be a bad thing if it is raining like this again. It's been an awful day in Newcastle, so please don't be that person that's gonna obviously leave at last minute and just screw yourselves over. But yeah, I just wanted to wrap things up there. Those are the two main topics. Obviously, Bruno's agent was at PSG in their last game, and of course, Joelinton staying at Newcastle. So two topics that I think you definitely should look at, two topics that I think you should be aware of, and two topics that, of course, is going to be up for debate of what you actually think about them. So let me know your thoughts down below. Well, I'll talk about it a bit more in my next video. Apologies for being a bit short as well. You may not have realised that I'm actually quite ill at the minute. So thankfully, there's no away game for a couple of weeks. So I got a relaxed time now where I can just recuperate and be ready to go again. But yeah, I have been quite ill, so apologies if I sound a bit off in this video. I appreciate you all watching anyway. Take care. Make the most out of the rest of your day. For me, it's going to be a couple of days rest. I'm not doing much in this weather, shall we say. But I wish you all the best though. Take care. We'll see you all in the next one.